Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Anonymous, and in this channel we talk about gang stalking, we talk about manipulation, we talk about perception, and we also talk about my experiences with gang stalking. In this video, I want to explore with you what I have learned about perception. So, perception is an incredibly complex thing to understand. And it's really hard to understand if you do not understand how fast your brain is that can actually change perceptions. It doesn't take very much for you to be able to change your opinion about something, your perception of something. It does not take a lot of work. So, the brain can literally, in 7 days, you can literally change everything about yourself in like a week. I have changed how I perceive the world around me completely, to such an extent that I do not perceive gang stalking where there isn't. So now I have found out that the only gang stalking that I encounter is when I'm at work or when I am parked going to sleep. However, I am not sure if that is actually gang stalking, but there is a possibility because someone stops by really close and kind of stops and watches my car. It could be that. It could not be. I am uncertain because I do not have all the information. Especially because I have not talked to them. I've just seen them. So, where was I? Oh, so perception is incredibly complex. You are constantly and continuously recording your perceptions all the time. So just know that your brain is absorbing new information all the time. In addition to that, your brain absorbs so many data points. For example, the location of your feet, the location of your eyes, the sensations, what is touching your body, the position of every single muscle, how much tension there is in between the muscle, how extended each muscle is, the pressure of the seat that I am right now, for example. Like if I'm gonna tell you, let's say that I have never sat on this car before, so I have had no perception of it. The first thing, there's things that you do consciously and things that happen subconsciously. For example, I sit down in the car, so my brain is literally going to start taking information about the color, the buttons, the layout, how hard the seat is, the positioning of my feet. That's why whenever you sit down, you immediately feel uncomfortable and you have to adjust it, because your mind is literally absorbing the state of the best state for you to be comfortable. And you don't even do this consciously. Your brain is just absorbing all the information. Not only that, but your eyes are also taking information. What they're looking at, the colors, the brightness. Your ears take information about the loudness of the sound of the engine by how much vibration your ears, by how much vibration is produced by the revving of the engine. Your body records the vibrations on the body that are created by the music, that are created by the engine. How loud the sound of the door closing is. So your body and your mind is literally recording everything. And then with time, your mind already knows. So it's recording this. But your mind doesn't record any new information unless it's necessary. For example, because I know how I left my seat before I left my car, and let's say that someone else drove it, and then I come back to my car. The reason that I notice that the seat was moved was because of all the times that I have sat on my car. There was a particular amount of pressure, and there's a particular amount of extension of my feet. The mirrors are in a particular place, so my eyes notice that there's difference, because the information from all the previous times that I have sat in my car was recorded. Now, these things are not consciously made because your mind is focusing on, is typically busy on other things. However, it will bring things to attention. For example, when the freaking the steering wheel is really hot, your mind it will how do you say it's gonna surpass, like if the steering wheel is very hot, it's gonna pretty much be the first thing that my brain notices, and it's gonna cancel everything else that I notice, and it's gonna tell me what is the most imminent danger, which is the heat of my steering wheel. So in addition to that, your body is also recording how fast and in what direction everything is moving. I'm not sure exactly what part of your body actually records that. But I feel like it is the entire nervous system is connected to, it feels movement. And I believe this because when I was in my car, I was imagining that I was like on a giant swing set. And I know that gang stalking did something to my body, because when I was imagining it, I literally felt all the physiological sensations. I felt the air. I felt like if I was actually on the swing set. I felt everything. And the more detailed I imagined, the more real it felt. So like, that's why, like, there is something that is done to your actual body that changes. And you can actually manipulate it. So it goes with my mind. I know it's attached to my mind. So if I imagine myself that I am, how do you say, I guess on a roller coaster, and I imagine like all the curves, I will literally feel the curves. It's uncanny. There is literally no difference in between me being on an actual roller coaster and imagining it if I focus on it. So because of that, I can also tell you that whenever you are like, how do you say it? Your mind isn't only recording it's not only recording that. It's also recording connections between what you see, what you hear, the positioning, the positioning of your eyes, what is touching your body. It is connecting everything. Everything. What object it is, how far it is. It is insane. It's absolutely incredible how much information your mind is absorbing in every second of every day, all the time. So your brain is literally always just changing connections between one and another and absorbing new data. It's really, really, really amazing. It's like the most amazing thing that exists anywhere. So, well, let's say that I am learning how to sweep. So, I'm gonna grab the broom, right? And let's say that I grab it too hard. So my mind is gonna record how hard I'm actually holding the broom. And then when my hands get tired, it's gonna send a signal to my brain to tell me that I'm holding it too hard because my hands are starting to get tired. So I will subconsciously just loosen my grip. Also, it's gonna record how to sweep. So like whenever you're doing the sweeping motion, you're bending your knees, you're bending your elbows, you're applying pressure to the floor through the broom while holding the broom with a particular amount of pressure. And then it also is going to record how much pressure do I need to push in order to sweep good. So it's actually making the connections of how effectively the trash is actually being swept out with how much pressure I'm applying. But to apply pressure, I have to engage my core. So, and I have to bend my elbows and bend my waist and my knees in a particular position to be able to apply that same amount of force. So, your brain is recording all this information just from holding a broom. It records how heavy it is. It's recording the relationship in between your hands, the positioning of your hands with the actual positioning of the broom. So it is recording all kinds of information all the time. Now, let's say that someone walks by me, right? This is a complete different scenario. I'm just like, let's say, just walking by, and then I see someone like on my peripheral vision, and then this person just moves like it was gonna like punch me, or does like a really fast movement or something. So let's say that I only see like a hand that is like right here, but I don't see the person, I don't see anything. My mind, like, I will first hear the sound of like the hand moving, or there will be some type of input. So like the sounds of the feet moving really fast, the sounds of the clothes bending too fast. My body will sense a fast movement by the input by the input that is receiving from the outside world. And with that, my brain is gonna deduce what is happening that I am not seeing. So it's gonna form an image of what's happening behind me. So according to the sound, according to all that information, it's gonna form an image and it's gonna give me an idea of what's happening. However, before it does that, it's gonna first and foremost detect a fast sound, a fast sound that it wasn't expecting. So I am gonna move out of the way. So that is why people move. That's why the reason that people turn around when there is like a loud bang behind them is because their body has a natural tendency to want to know what is, so it feels the vibration, it hears the noise, so it has to turn around to know where it's coming from and what is causing it. Now, I spent so much time not looking at what was making the sounds that my brain filled those sounds with gang stalkers making the sounds, because that is the most recent memory that is in my brain. The most recent experience where I actually felt like if people I actually felt people, and I saw them, purposely making the sound to bother me. The thing is that since I stopped looking, my mind kept that perception. So, in addition to all the visual information, the thought of that person is making that sound on purpose to bother me stayed there. The impression, the perception of that sound, and also how my body felt. I felt a shock, so my body is going to replay that, because that is the sensation that my body had, and that is the last perception of that sound that my brain created. So now whenever I'm at the gym and I do not see any person, but I hear the sound, my brain will recreate a person, a faceless person, slamming the weights purposely to bug me. With time, I lost the ability to deduce what was the actual machine. Where was the sound coming from? Because my mind was just assuming that it was an important sound. And so I didn't have any sense of where the sound was coming from. I had lost that for a very long time. So now, that is the perception that my mind kept. Same thing at work. When I'm at work, someone was behind the curtain, and I know that they were looking at me because they would react to what I would do. For example, if they would be watching a customer annoy me, and whenever I would get annoyed, they would make the bang. Which now, let's say that I had that experience for a long time. So that started with someone walking behind the curtain at work. So, because the most important perception was the perception that tells you that there is danger. It overrides any other perception. It overrides the perception that they could have gone to the restroom, that they could have gone into the office, that they could be busy doing anything. But the perception that represented the most imminent danger was someone observing what I was doing from behind is that someone was observing me from behind the curtain and watching what I was doing. So whenever I would see someone walk behind the curtain, my mind will automatically assume that the person there is watching and talking about me, observing me. So if I feel that there's someone there and I begin hearing voices, like they're actually talking, and then I would go into a trance when they're talking. And let's say that I would be focused on what they're saying, and I hear them, or maybe I have a suspicion that they're talking about me. The fact that I have a suspicion that they're talking about me, and I went into a trance. When I have that suspicion, my mind will put the attention there. I will feel a presence there. And that presence, if I'm hearing voices, the presence there, my brain is going to create voices. And the voices are going to be talking about me. They're going to be describing what I'm doing. Like if I disconnect, they're going to say, oh, he disconnected. Or they're going to say, oh, look at him, he's doing that. And that is how they keep the chatter on. And it makes you feel that they're watching you because they're describing what you're doing. Even though they possibly are not. So gang stalkers know that you're in a trance by looking at your eyes. I have never seen, like, I don't know, I feel like you just look out of it. Like, I know that, like, my freaking breathing rate lowers down because I feel a lack of energy. I feel a lack of enthusiasm. And anyways, so that is how gang stalking works. Is that they create these scenarios for you to have a belief that they're there. And it's hard not to focus on because your mind will automatically be focusing on that because it represents danger. So those perceptions are recorded. And when the program kicks in, is you're living on the perceptions. You are living with in the world of the suspicions. If you believe that someone is there, you're focused on that person being there, and for some reason, that focus ties you. It ties you because you're focused on what they're saying. And even if they're not saying anything, you lose yourself in what they're saying. So the only chatter possible is how you feed the voice, because the voice is fed from you and from the voices that have been recorded on you by the gang stalkers. And there is something that you do with your mind is where you start imagining what the voices are saying. You feed the voice because you're imagining what they would be talking about you. Like if you feel like if you look at your shirt and you have a stain and you're like, ugh, this stain is gross. That the voice is gonna say, oh, the stain on his shirt is gross. That's how that works. They feed off your thoughts. And if you feel like your feet are getting tired and you're like, oh, my feet are getting tired, or like it smells bad, you're not even gonna hear your own thought, but you're gonna hear it as the voice from behind the curtain saying the thought as if it was having a conversation about you. And this is the thing, is that the voice doesn't even have to belong to the person that you believe that is behind the curtain. There is something that happens when there's people actually behind the curtain talking, is that where I start inevitably focusing on what they're saying. And there's a point where they stop talking, I get connected, and my mind just creates what they're saying. But the voice is saying the thoughts that I'm having as if it was having a conversation about me. And that is hypnotizing. And then you just can't help it, but you're stuck there listening to the voice. It kind of like traps you, because you're just focused on what they're saying, and instead of you hearing your own thoughts, like if they're yours, you hear it like if someone was talking about you. But your brain maintains the perception that there's someone there talking about you. And the way that I realized this was because the voices weren't the person's, weren't anyone's from work. It was just some voice. I would hear the noise around me, but that voice was just talking about me, and I had no idea. Like I don't know, like the fact that you do not hear your thoughts as yours, but you hear them as someone else talking about you. It kind of traps you in a loop, because you're trying to hear your own thoughts, but you don't. You hear that person talking about you. Now, how I got rid of this was, first, I got used to whenever I hear a voice talking about me, I program myself to tell me that whenever I hear a voice that's talking about me, I'm connected. How did I do this? I imagine myself. Remember, there is no difference. Your mind doesn't know the difference in between something that you imagine and something real. So I imagined myself having that perception and being stuck in that loop. And then when that happened, I imagined the voice saying the last thing that it said to me, saying something about me that I was doing, telling me my own thought, as if it was having a conversation. Now, in my head, I played, when you hear a voice talking about you, what you're doing, it means that you're connected. There is no one there. You are under a trance. And I replayed this a lot of times. And guess what happened? So, same thing. I was getting connected by the sounds that were happening at work, by the coughs, by the jingles of the keys, by the annoyance of some customers. So I got connected, and then I had that perception again. And then I heard the voice say what I was doing, and then I remembered my mind created the connection. Whenever you hear a voice talking about you, what you're doing, you're connected. And I immediately, boom, snapped out of it. And so what I did is that whenever someone walked behind the curtain, I told myself, they could have gone to the restroom, they could be in the office, they could be doing anything, but they are not always behind the curtain. So I gave myself more leeway, that there is not only one possibility. If I see one person behind the curtain, that they could be anywhere. And it was highly unlikely that they're there. So I did this with the perception of everything. For example, there are things that I was made to feel. So I'm not sure if these things are annoying in themselves, or the fact that someone banged, the fact that someone coughed or jiggled their keys made what I was looking at annoy me. Like, for example, I remember that I would feel like annoyance when I would look at a thing and the customer would move it. Like, I would just be like, yeah, that would just annoy me. So I don't know if there was like a kick or a sound or something. But then I would hear the thought, oh, he's doing it on purpose. That's annoying. And then I would feel anger come up. So then I have been replacing it. So whenever I feel the anger, I keep telling myself, whenever my body will feel the anger, I literally began in my mind saying, I'm thankful because it is because of you. I understand a lot more about the mind. So even though you might have bad intentions, or even though they can perceive what you're doing can be perceived as a negative, you're actually helping me. So I'm thankful. I'm grateful to you. And then so during my work hours, I kept saying my mantras, and then I kept replacing all the previous perceptions of gang stalking with the perceptions of more possibilities other than gang stalking, or other than being spied on. So for example, during the conditioning, if I'm at work and I am like focused on something, someone, a coworker, it's gonna make a noise behind me. They're gonna cough, and immediately I'm gonna think, oh, there's someone behind me. They're watching me. So guess what? My mind records a sound. It records where the sound could possibly be by. And it records pretty much if that person whispers something like asshole or whatever, or what the fuck, then what my brain does, if I'm like there, and my body believes, or there is something, like for example, remember that my body is recording not only everything around me, but also the vibrations. It's also recording my outside environment. So it could be like a car starting. So let's say that when someone was behind me, my brain recorded the sensation of someone behind me and the word that they said. So if it just happens that, there was a car revved up its engine really fast outside of the store, when I was at that point in time, when I was at that location, or in a situation that is remarkably similar, and then a sound on the outside of me is repeated, my brain is gonna create the sensation of someone being behind me. It's gonna recreate the what the fuck. It's gonna recreate that experience. That's why we see things. That's why witty eyes feel things, and they're not there. They appear to be coming from nowhere. It is because of that was the experience that represented the most imminent danger. When you felt like that, when you heard like that. So then when you heard that sound, when you were in that same aisle or whatever, So all it takes is for a similar sound for your mind to be creating these phantoms. For example, when I was parked in the parking structure at the gym, for months and months, before that, people were swaying my car for hours on end. And then they would say, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And then they would go. And then if I would be talking or thinking out loud, they would react to what I'm saying. For example, if I would say, "Gang stalkers are assholes," they would push my car really hard. And I would feel it move. Or if I would say something that was like bad to the gang stalker, they would go, "Damn it." So when that would happen, and let's say that while someone was shaking my car like that, there was a car driving by that had its engine really loud and it just went. If I'm sitting in my car and there's no one around, so and because I have those experiences, those perceptions, when I heard a car raving really loud, because at that point in time, I heard there was someone behind my car that was swaying it and was reacting by pushing my car and by saying words like "damn it" or "what the fuck." Let's say that I'm by myself and I hear a loud engine revving. The most imminent perception of that, when there was a car revving up its engine by me when I'm sitting down in my car, my mind is gonna recreate how it felt that someone was behind my car. My mind is gonna recreate the pushing of my car whenever I say something that is negative towards gang stalkers. And not only that, but it's also gonna record the "what the fuck," and it's gonna create the "what the fuck" and the and there is absolutely no difference between those experiences and real life. That's why gang stalkers, that's why when I would go back and look, and whenever I would go outside, there would be no one there. But the truth is that there doesn't have to be anyone there, because I already have those experiences. So gang stalkers notice when it's wearing out, when the programming is wearing out. So they need a little refreshment. So what they do is pretty much make you annoyed again, and then bang again, push your car a little bit, say "what the fuck," and go behind you a couple of times to refresh the program. The thing is that as a target, you never know. You're not supposed to understand this. So you are never gonna know if there is someone there or if there isn't. And if you do go out and check, you're not gonna find anyone, because they do it here and there. But you as a person are never going to know the difference between someone actually being there and someone not, because your mind is going to recreate everything. If someone banged on your window, and let's say that I'm parked underneath a tree, and I hear a little bang, like the tree dropped a little seed on my car, my mind is going to immediately detect and interpret that sound as someone banging on my window. So then my mind is going to be, okay, so because there's a sound there, someone banged, therefore someone is behind my car. So then my mind is going to start recreating the swaying of my car. It's going to recreate the voices, because my mind is going to believe that there is someone there saying those things, because that is the highest likely scenario. And there you have it, guys. Gang stalking is the manipulation of your perceptions. And also, your body recreates the same emotions that you had when that was happening, automatically. So the only way you can actually fight this is by knowing how your perceptions work. It is by knowing what I'm telling you. The fact that you believe that someone is there, your mind will start to create things. So if you feel that that someone is like watching you, right? And if you're gonna look around, your mind is gonna interpret a tree as someone. And the more tired you are, the more real these misinterpretations of reality are gonna be. So that's it, guys. That is the truth of gang stalking. That is why people go crazy, because they don't understand what's happening to them. But once you understand it, whenever you have that sensation, that's how I got out of it, out of that program, was that whenever I felt that sensation, that it was something else and it wasn't anything. So I began imagining other scenarios, like my body creating the swaying, or a car driving by, something, anything other than someone being there. And I also told myself that if someone is there, it represents absolutely no danger, because I know for a fact that they don't do anything. So I was able to do other things, even when my body was recreating those sensations. The only way to deprogram yourself is that whenever there's someone swaying your car, or at least me, is to walk outside as soon as it starts, really fast, and find out that there's no one. So then, because it was my body, I'll tell you my mind, if you feel this, if you believe that there's something there, it is because of the programming, and it's because of, and I have to replay all the experiences and tell myself, my mind, that it is highly unlikely that there is someone there. And if there is someone there, it's harmless. So that sensation is unnecessary. So that whenever that would happen, whenever I would feel the freaking sensation that there was someone there, I would imagine Paris Hilton dancing around my car, and just I keep telling myself it's not anyone, and if it is, it's harmless. So then that is the thought that replaced the thought that there was someone behind my car. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This information of gang stalking has never ever been revealed anywhere. It is information that only gang stalkers know. They're the only ones that know how to program the target. And I will tell you on my next video how... Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I forgot to say one thing. Well, before I tell you that, just know that this channel is dedicated to spreading the reality of gang stalking, to help you understand it, so that gang stalkers lose their power. And this way, I give the actual power to the targets, to everyone. So as long as this information is spread out, and everyone knows what gang stalking is really about, how they manage to drive people crazy, to see things, to see people that are not there, to hear people that are not there. The understanding of this of this will literally give the target the power to stop it immediately. It took me 1 week to bring myself back to the best I've ever been. I'm happy, I'm excited for life. I don't give a fuck about gang stalkers, because whenever they gang stalk me, it's an opportunity for me to reprogram myself to be better. Because I have learned to use the world around me to become limitless. All that experience with gang stalking was absolutely worth it. And I want to teach you guys how to have total control of your mind, total control of your perceptions, and how to use your brain to create shortcuts to having the best life you have ever been, to be the happiest you have ever been, and to immediately, literally change your life radically. So what I wanted to tell you, so please like and share this information. Please like and share, guys. Please like and share this information. The more awareness we create with this information, the better. Initially, I didn't want to share all the information of how to program your mind, because I felt a little greedy in the beginning. I was like, well, everyone is gonna know I can sell this information. But no. The only reason that gang stalkers have this information is because no one knows about it. And I want to take all the power away from the gang stalkers. And the only way to do that is to make all this information available to the entire world. So, when I was at work last time, and I was wearing earphones, I was listening to positive and motivating speeches while I was getting programmed. So when that was happening, That way, they program all this positive information in my brain. Because my brain is recording what the person is saying. So whenever I'm at work, I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel motivated. And it's going to be a re-perpetuating, it's going to be a positive thing that feeds it into itself. My mind is going to be working to my benefit again. And so I had the thought of, what if they know that I'm wearing earphones, and the earphones that I wear are do not cover the ears, so you can hear everything around you without blocking the ambient sound. So the reason. Oh, so when I was doing that, because I had the thought, my brain created the shadow of someone going to my ear, and my brain literally said, or I heard a voice saying, he's wearing earphones. And then I saw my coworker, and my brain created the voice coming from that person saying, he's wearing earphones. But I was looking at the person to their face, and they didn't say anything. They were just there. They had no idea what just happened. So that means that whenever you have fear of something happening because it represents danger, your mind is going to very likely produce it. That's why you see shadows. So it was a shadow, but your mind is just trying to help you. It's recreating these things, not because it wants to scare you, but because it wants to warn you. Because it's possible. And the reason that it is so fast, and the reason that it was a shadow, was because my brain had no information of anyone else that could possibly be. It created the voice of my coworker, Alexis, because Alexis was the last person that I saw pass by or in that direction. But it was only the voice. It didn't recreate any of the other information. Now, so that's how your mind creates shadows. That's how your perceptions are made. And on my next video, I will teach you how to use headlights to motivate you, to remind you of how amazing you are. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing. That way, you can use the world around you to your benefit. All right? I have to go now. Please like and share this information, guys. This information is the truth of gang stalking. I've got it. I don't feel anguish anymore. I don't feel pain. Even when people are being rude to me. I have literally reprogrammed my mind to be disconnected from the negative physiological emotions. It's insane. Anyways, I have to go now. Bye, guys.